Oh my gosh! Welcome to the reading vlog. You saw the title of this video, you know what's going on. I'm so excited. This is my first time doing anything like this. I have to say, I was greatly inspired by all the other people's 24-hour readathons that I've seen. The fun little twist and like extra layer of this that's going on is that in my Discord server right now, we are actually doing a full 4-day like readathon. So it's from today, which is Valentine's Day, February 14th to the 17th. So we're just all seeing how much we can read in this time period. Everyone has like their own adventure that they're going on, whether it's scheduling it into their plans, like really making an effort to read this weekend. Some people are trying to do 24 hours of reading like me. Some people are just seeing how much they can read in the entire 4 days. It's fun. It's a fun time. I'm so excited. It just started this morning when I woke up. I was like, yeehaw, let's fucking go. So anyways, we're getting started and I'm so sad because I just looked on my phone and my copy of the first book that I was planning on reading only works on Libby. And I am so sorry, but I don't think I can read a book on my iPad after becoming such a feral Kindle girl. Like I can't do it unless it's on an e-reader. So anyways, I have to work for like 6 or 7 hours today anyways. So I actually borrowed the audiobook from my library today. NetGalley and Libby are sponsoring this video. Not really, so don't get me in trouble if that's a thing. But yeah, fake sponsoring this video today are Libby and NetGalley because I'm gonna be reading ARCs and books from my library. The first book up on the docket is Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. I'm so excited to read this, especially because this book is a dystopian that takes place in 2025. I think it's gonna shake me to my very core, and I'm quite excited to see what all the hype is about because it's literally a freaking iconic book. So I think maybe I should just start a 24-hour timer, 23 hours, 59 minutes and 59 seconds, and like start that and then pause it when I'm not reading. We're gonna see how many hours of it I listen to at work, and yeah, I'll give you updates throughout the day. So we're doing it, today's Friday, we're doing it Friday to Monday. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to like achieve 24 hours. Oh, Flip just came in back from his walk. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to achieve 24 hours, but we'll see, okay? So yeah, let's freaking go. I'm back, I've changed. I'm in my comfy cozy clothes now. We are, is that gonna freaking focus? Oh my god, of course. We've got 18 hours and 36 minutes left of reading to do during this weekend. I did a bunch at work. I wasn't listening for every single minute that I was at work and on my commute home or to work. I had to pause it a couple of times because like, for safety reasons, I'm not allowed to wear my over-ear headphones like when I'm on deck on stage. So when I was like going and dropping off shoes and doing all that stuff, for all of you who don't know what I'm even talking about, I work at a theater on Broadway. So I was doing the shoe call today, painting shoes, so that's why I'm able to listen to audiobooks during work. But then yeah, when I was like dropping off the shoes and making sure that everything was all set where I needed to be, obviously could not be wearing headphones because it's for safety. So I am, how far? I think I'm like 77% into Parable of the Sower, like 83% into Parable of the Sower. There's 2 hours left in the audiobook. However, I'll probably be able to finish it in about 1 hour because I'm listening on 2 times speed. However, I do have the actual physical ebook, which I theoretically could read on my iPad. I just like kind of hate, it's so big, like it feels so clunky. And then I don't 100% know what I'm going to listen to next, or read actually. For me, it's way easier to like physically read. The only time that I listen to audiobooks is like if I'm doing chores or at work, because if I'm not doing something physically with my hands while listening to an audiobook, like a mundane task like the dishes or folding or painting shoes or whatever, I am not able to focus on an audiobook. Like when I was just sitting there on the train trying to listen, I was like literally using all of the focus in my body to try to pay attention to what was going on in the book, because yeah, listening to audiobooks for me with my ADHD personally does not work so well unless I'm like, again, doing like a really mundane task. Anyways, we are, I don't know, however many hours. I'm so bad at math. This book is really crazy. So we're following this young woman named Lauren. She starts out the book as a 16 or 17-year-old, and we go like throughout a couple of years. She's kind of just detailing her experience of living in this like walled neighborhood in 2024. It starts in 2024, and now, you know, we've gone a few years, so that's kind of off-putting. And it's basically like after climate change has made things really bad, the government has made things really bad, prices keep going up, water is really hard to get, like all of these things that I've read the first 2 books in the Mad Adam trilogy by Margaret Atwood, and this book kind of feels like it takes place before all of that shit happened. You know what I mean? Like this feels like the prequel to the Mad Adam series of like the world just slowly descending into chaos. So it's really crazy. I just want to say right now off the bat, the trigger warnings, please check them. Please check them. Everything you could possibly think of, it's probably mentioned, at least in this book. There are a lot of mentions of SA, gore, mutilation, torture, dead bodies, awful, awful things. Something else, like, I don't want to like necessarily keep saying things and like give weird spoilers or anything, but like, it's is not for the faint of heart, I will admit. And listening to it all day today has been kind of wild, but it's also one of those books for me personally that if I don't just kind of get it all out of the way in a day or so, I'm probably not gonna have the strength to pick it back up later on. So I'm just kind of like powering through, and then I have a bunch of arcs to read afterwards because I really want to get my NetGalley stats back up. I'm like really low right now. I'm at like 57% or something. And I think the next book that I'm going to read is Worth Fighting For. I think it's like a Mulan retelling. It doesn't have a cover because this is an arc that I got, and I don't know when the actual book comes out, but I think it's at some point this year, later on this year. Anyways, we're gonna finish with Parable of the Sower and then see from there. Probably gonna read or start Worth Fighting For later. Ray and I are just gonna have a nice little chill evening in. Anyways, I'll see you in a sec. When I'm done with Parable of the Sower, I'll give my thoughts, final thoughts. A little over 18 and a half hours left to go of this reading challenge, so that's crazy. 24 hours is a long time. I didn't realize. I didn't really realize how much time that was gonna be going into this, but you know, we're sticking the course. We're sticking to it. I'm having a great time. I love reading. Alright, well that is book 1 finished with 17 and a half hours left to go in the challenge still. I don't know how people do the 24 hours of just straight reading and don't go to bed. I'd perish. Like literally I would pass away. But anyways, I guess tomorrow I just have a little bit of YouTube work to do, but in general it's mostly just gonna be a reading day. So honestly, I would be so happy if I could read 2 arcs. I know it's a little bit on the crazy side, but I think they're just like 2 short-ish romance books, and I'm hoping that I can finish 2 of them. If not, at least just finishing 1 full book would be amazing, because I do definitely have a little bit of work to do. But yeah, okay, cool. I'm gonna take a break for the rest of the night, besides maybe reading a little bit before going to bed. But Ray and I are going to hang out, have dinner, watch the new episode of Severance, and yeah, I'll see you when I start my next book and start the timer back up again. Good morning, everyone. I have walked my dog, eaten breakfast, and I'm back in bed because it is a freezing cold, chilly day here, and I just feel like reading in bed for a little bit because that's what a readathon's about, right? So I've got my Kindle, I've got the arc that I'm reading, which is a little romance. It is a Mulan retelling, kind of, but it's just like a modern version of Mulan. Like, they all have the names that they have in the movie, like the Disney movie. So the main character is literally Mulan, and her like cousin slash assistant is Mushu, and like it's like a whole thing. But the writing is not amazing. It's fine. It's a little bit clunky in my opinion. I don't know if it's going to be edited a little bit more because technically this is an arc, but usually arcs don't necessarily need an extra round of like content editing. It's just like formatting and maybe some spelling errors essentially, but I don't really know that much about it. Anyways, it's called Worth Fighting For, and I think it comes out in like June or something. So far it's average schmaverage, I'll be honest. I didn't realize it comes in like a set of a bunch of other modernizations of these Disney movies, because apparently this is the 5th one. The last one that was made or came out was a Tangled modernization by Christina Lauren. So like, okay. Anyways, yeah, so far it's fine. It's literally just fine. But I need to get my NetGalley stats back up, so I'm gonna try to bang through this today. It's only 320 pages or something, so hopefully I can read it in a couple of hours and then move on to another book, basically another arc, which is probably going to be another romance, because I tend to just request romance arcs because of a day like today where I can just like bang it out. Like, for me, it's easier and better to request romance arcs because then I can just read them really quickly. I think now that I'm in my like getting my stats up journey part of this whole situation on NetGalley, because I didn't really know how it worked at first and requested too many things and blah blah blah. I just need to get my stats up, and having romance books is a really easy way to do that. So anyways, maybe I can do a whole video about NetGalley later on in another video. But anyways, let's keep reading this one right now. We are just under 17 hours to go. Also, yeah, this book takes place in the Bay Area, which of course it does. Of course it does. The whole premise of this is that Mulan and her dad work for this like private equity firm or something related to finance. I literally don't know anything about finance, so every time that they talk about it, it's just like, whoop. But of course, like a tech finance Asian run business is in the Bay Area, because that's all the Bay Area is. That's not true, but I can say that coming from living in the Bay Area. Every other person in my graduating class, their parent worked as like a computer scientist or a doctor or something. There's a lot of Asian people, a lot of Asian immigrants in the Bay Area. That's just like where a lot of them come to work, to get jobs, to like do all that stuff. It's just a fact. Like, it's just a fact. My high school was 80% Asian and South Asian, so our high school was literally like down the street from the Apple buildings, like where people worked. So it's just a fact. Like, don't get mad at the facts. Anyways, love that. Okay, so where Shang comes into all of this is that he owns, or his family and him owns a company that like this finance company that Mulan's dad owns is trying to like acquire or partner with. But like the whole thing is that they're really like kind of traditional and whatever, and like the dad has a heart attack or like is indisposed and can't go to the meeting, so Mulan has to do it. We haven't gotten to that point yet where she has to go to the meeting, but like the whole thing is like, oh well, I don't know if it's gonna go well. The nuggets we are getting in this book are crazy. Like it almost feels a little bit too kitschy for me. I don't know how I feel about it. I was really excited about this because I thought it was just going to be kind of like a loose Mulan retelling, but it's just like kind of the plot of the movie, but not really, just set in modern settings with all the same names and everything. Yeah, but I have to read it because it's an arc, so let's keep going. Okay, this is getting a little ridiculous actually, because this is a quote that I've just highlighted. Where is this author from? Like, what? Are you kidding me? That's like the most stereotypical thing you could have ever said. We're in California after all, a state teeming with avocados, matcha lattes, and hot guys. Like, please. The premise of this is absolutely bonker town. Here, let me pause the timer while I'm talking to you. Like, what is going on? She's going to the family ranch to prove to them that she's like manly enough to acquire their company because they're so fucking sexist. And she shows up in this like absolute cosplay of a fucking ranch outfit. Yeah, it's just a bit silly. So definitely don't go into this thinking that it's like anything but like the most ridiculous romance novel you've ever read in your life. With character names that sure, you may know, but barely anything to do with the plot. It makes the suspension of disbelief, like you might as well suspend it from the Golden Gate Bridge because that's how crazy it is. Literally, why? Why is she pretending to be the person that they were talking to over email? Why doesn't she just say, oh yeah, sorry, my dad is in the hospital, so I'm taking his place for now, but like he owns the company. And then they're like, oh okay, well a man owns it, great, well like why is she doing all this? Why is she making it so confusing? The whole like hijinks thing is so early 2000s hoodwink of a movie kind of vibe. Like, I don't know, it just feels so unbelievably unrealistic. And it's hard for me to like genuinely read it. Hopefully I'm not really spoiling. Like I'm only 25% into the novel, so like about 25% in is like usually what's on the blurb anyway. So I'm not gonna spoil anything unless I see more really, really stupid quotes. I don't know how I'm gonna rate this book. I do not see it getting anywhere outside of the 3-star range. Like there's no way it's gonna be a 4 point anything. So let's just keep going. Okay, unfortunately, I just got a little bit distracted by my phone and was scrolling. Anyways, we are nearly halfway through our challenge. I have a little bit over 14 hours of reading left to go. So we're nearly halfway through the challenge. I'm feeling pretty good. However, I really just need to make sure that I'm continuing to read. How far into this book am I right now? 67% into the book, and if I'm being completely honest with you, it's basically just Mulan fanfiction. I'll talk to you in a bit. I'm gonna eat a tiny bit of lunch and then get back to reading. This book is not really drawing me in. I think that's why I got distracted for so long. If I'm locked in, like no forces of nature are going to be pulling me away from a book. But this is like just okay, in my opinion. So I just need to finish it. I just need to push through and finish. I probably got a couple more hours of reading to go before I finish this book. I'm not like the world's fastest reader, but I also wouldn't necessarily call myself a slow reader. I probably have about an hour, maybe an hour and a half more of reading in this book, and then I'll be done. So yeah, I'll let you know my thoughts and feelings when we finished and what time we're at. I feel like this video is going to be really long. I don't really know what's going to go on. We're just going to keep going, rolling with the punches. Hello, I had to fix my hair because it looked absolutely crazy. We are nearly halfway through the challenge. I have 12 hours and 44 minutes to go. I have finished book number 2, which was an arc called Worth Fighting For, and it was just fine. I'm totally fine coming on here and being like, it comes out later this year, don't worry about it. I don't want to say don't worry about it and like don't read it, but like it was a fade to black romance, just so you know. Absolutely no spice whatsoever. A little bit of kissing and that's it. There was a couple of moments that were painful to get through. I was rolling my eyes quite a few times. A lot of the characters overreacted in certain ways. Like, it was a bit over dramatic in a way that I did not find fun or entertaining. I was also just waiting for every next disaster to happen because it was just one of those like crazy disastrous things just keep happening, and it was kind of stressing me out. I'll do an official like wrap up with the ratings and everything at the end of the video. So yeah, I don't 100% know what to read next. I feel like if I kind of just keep slamming these romances back, I do really need to get through my arcs. I'm just gonna pull up the screenshot that I have. Basically, I have this one romance that I started a little while ago that was so not good that I genuinely cannot force myself to keep reading it. I might try to get a bit more into it and whatever, but not right now. Genuinely not right now. It's gonna put me into a slump. I need to be stronger for that. And then I have 7 Days in Tokyo and Friends to Lovers. And then I have a book about bread, like how to make bread, a book about sewing, a little poetry collection that I'm not super vibing with because I'm just not a poetry person. I didn't realize that when I had requested it, so it was definitely my fault. And then this little, like, what's it called? Like a little comic strip sort of book thing, which I can very easily do later this week or whatever. I would love to get one more arc out of the way and then see where we are at from there. Because after that, I don't think I'm gonna want to read another romance. I think it'll be good to like speed through this next one. I'm really feeling drawn to 7 Days in Tokyo. So I think I'm gonna give that a chance. And then move on to a different book. I have to let my Kindle charge for a minute though because it's at like 7% right now. So I'm gonna let it charge for a tiny minute and maybe do a couple of dishes while that's happening and then get back into reading. Okay, I'm already about 26% of the way into 7 Days in Tokyo. I think there's like just over 200 pages, so I should be able to finish it tonight if I'm really feeling focused. The writing is really beautiful and I'm really enjoying it so far. It takes place between like a flashback in New York City and Tokyo, and it's gay, and I didn't realize that. Kind of like lit fic with romance. It's really giving me the same vibes as like Call Me By Your Name, where there's like kind of no plot, just vibes, which really I can only tolerate if it's done really well. And so far this is done really well. I'm officially at like pretty much the 12-hour mark, so we're exactly halfway through the challenge right now. I'm not gonna have that much time to read tomorrow because I have work and then I have plans with my friends. But I'm gonna try to read in between and all that stuff. I also have The Anthropocene reviewed by none other than Mr. John Green. I'm gonna start cooking dinner and put on the audiobook so I can keep my timer going. Just keep running down that clock, you know what I mean? I've kind of just been going through this audiobook in little chunks, like listening to a couple of chapters here and there, just because I'm not a huge fan of like essay collections or whatever. So having these like in little bite-sized pieces has been really good for me in terms of like my enjoyment. And I also loved John Green like growing up. But anyways, let's freaking go. See how many chapters we can listen to. Okay, I haven't done that much reading since I last checked in with you. Had some dinner, watched a movie with Ray. I'm 32% into 7 Days in Tokyo, and so far I really like it. Like I said, I'm not usually a no plot, just vibes kind of girl when it comes to like books and stuff, but if it's done really well and it's like deeply tied in with like emotions instead of just like mindlessly doing a bunch of random shit, that's when I'm like interested. Like when it's really a deep character study and like you're in the head of someone, sure, maybe not a lot might be going on, but like that's when it's interesting to me. But when it's like nothing is going on and you're not noticing anything about anything and it's just like a character doing a bunch of dumb bullshit, like that's when I'm not really vibing with it. But so far the writing in this book is so good. Like I've highlighted so many quotes so far. I would genuinely consider it literary fiction. It has like an undercurrent of romance, but just like that's just one of the topics that it's talking about, or at least that's what it seems like so far. Definitely having a good time. I have work really early tomorrow and then have to go grocery shopping on my way home, and then I have plans later. So again, I probably won't be doing too much reading. I will be lucky if I get a couple hours done tomorrow. So Monday I will be finishing up the remaining bulk of my reading. And yeah, so the check-in right now is we've got 10 hours and 50 minutes left in the challenge. I'll probably read a little bit more before going to bed and then knock down a couple more hours tomorrow. Hopefully I'll do a little bit on my commute. I'll listen to a couple more chapters of the Anthropocene Reviewed and then read a little bit maybe after work or in between my plans or whatever. Making it through the 24 hours. Hello, it is 7:19 in the morning on day 3 of the 4-day reading challenge readathon thing. To get to 24 hours in that amount of time, I have 10 and a half hours left to read, and I'm gonna see how much I can do at work in between on my plans and back at home. So I will update you in a bit, see how far I've gotten after a couple of those things have happened. We're getting there. I'm back from work. I have a few hours until I have to go out and meet my friends for some plans. I read a little bit of 7 Days in Tokyo at work, and I am 61% in. I have read for so long. We've got 8 hours left of the timer to go. I was listening to the Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green and I finished that, so that's great. So far, my track record is Parable of the Sower, Worth Fighting For, and like the last maybe 1/3 of the Anthropocene Reviewed. It definitely helped that I was doing audiobooks because it has kind of like kept the timer going. However, I would really be interested to do this again and just see how long it takes me to read 24 hours and like not necessarily worry about how long it takes me, I guess, but just like see how much I can like physically read with my eyeballs in 24 hours, just because I'm curious, like genuinely. Obviously, like reading with an audiobook can either slow you down or make it a little bit faster depending on like how you're doing with the book. With Lord of the Rings, it saved me. It would have taken me way too long to read that on my own. Anyways, I'm gonna keep reading, doing some stuff. I will catch you back when I've read a little bit more. I'm all dressed up, ready to go, doing karaoke with my K-pop friends. I've got 7.5 hours of reading left to go. I'm probably gonna try to get a little bit done on the train there and back, and then a little bit more tonight. But yeah, that's the update. I'm back from karaoke. I just put my hair away because it was kind of just all over the place. Yes, the living room is a mess. I don't know if you can see. We're redoing the ceiling in our room finally, so everything is everywhere. Anyways, how are we doing? We have 6.5 hours of the challenge to go. I finished 7 Days in Tokyo. This book really was giving me Call Me By Your Name vibes in terms of just like the amount of things that the author was saying about like noticing your feelings about things. Same kind of vibe. And I gave Call Me By Your Name 5 stars because when I read that book, I was like, I have never read a book that has captured more the feeling of being in love and like having a crush, like that agonizing feeling, especially like your first love, like how all encompassing that is. Like this kind of felt like that. Like if you're a traveler, if you, I don't know, just it's like about complicated feelings about love and lust. It's just so good. I really liked it. I really, really liked it. And I feel kind of bad because a lot of the other reviews were not that good because they were like, I don't even know why he likes him because the other guy's such a dick. Yeah, he is. That's the point. Like, I don't, like, not everyone that you accidentally like or fall in love with is gonna be a nice person, and that's just kind of the way of the world. And like, it's brutal. Like, it's really heart-wrenching, and I really loved it. The writing was so beautiful. I literally highlighted so many of the passages in this arc. Honestly, I feel like a lot of you guys would probably like this book. Again, it's really genuinely no plot, just vibes, which is usually not the kind of book that I really enjoy. However, this one was really good in my opinion. 7 Days in Tokyo by, let's see who the author is. It's his debut novel, which is like freaking awesome. I think it's probably a Filipino author because the main character is Filipino. Jose Daniel Alvior, which Filipino people have kind of Spanish sounding names quite often, so very, very possible. I don't really know much about the author though, besides the fact that this is his debut novel. And yeah, anyways, if you like literary fiction, definitely give this a try. If you like gay literary fiction, definitely especially give this a try. Sorry about the noises. Oh my god. I do not know what to read next. When I decide, I will come back here and let you know. But like I said, we're 6.5 hours from finishing the 24-hour challenge. Yeah, so I'll come back when I have figured out what I want to do for the last book. I might look through my physical TBR. I might look through what's available to borrow on Libby. I might wait till tomorrow to start reading another book, even though usually it's really hard for me to fall asleep without reading. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll see. The wind is going crazy right now. Anyways, I'll see you in a sec once I figured out what the next book is gonna be. Hello, good morning. I know there's so much noise going on. We've got the freaking radiator on blast. I'm so sorry, it's freezing in here, so I need to leave it on. It's just loud as hell. I think because I have so much to do today, and I really do want to try to get the last 6.5 hours done of this reading vlog, I'm just going to listen to a thriller. So I went through my library and I found The Death of Mrs. Westway by Ruth Ware. I've read 2 of her books and I thought they were both good, genuinely. So I trust her as a thriller author for the most part. I am just going to pop my headphones on and go around my house and do some dishes, finish some laundry, get another load going, that kind of stuff, like clean up a little bit. So for now, it's gonna be a cute little like cleaning vlog, not really, but kind of. Just gonna give you a little montage. Okay, there's 50 minutes left. It's 9:47. There's 50 more minutes on the clock. Ray and I just had dinner and watched a movie. I am so close to being done. I shirked all of my responsibilities today besides just cleaning, which was honestly really good because I feel a bit more organized and ready to kind of tackle the week now. Anyways, gonna put on my headphones and listen to the last little bit of this book, which honestly, love Ruth Ware. I love the lyrical writing. It feels like a literary fiction with like a mystery thriller aspect to it instead of like trying too hard to be a mystery thriller and like being crazy and weird and gross just to be all those things, which honestly happens so often. And she's really subtle with the twists and everything, but then right at the end, the like suspense really starts gripping you, and like I just have this major feeling of foreboding and like things are gonna go really wrong like really soon. So I'm pretty locked in, but I think I have 15 minutes left on the timer for the 24 hours, but I have a little bit longer than that in the book. So we will be finishing the 24 hours tonight during this readathon, so I'm really excited. Let's go. That's 24 hours, folks. Literally at the climax of this motherfucking book. Okay, I need to pause the book for a second. Oh my god. Okay. I will catch up with you tomorrow to give you an overview of all the books and this, like everything of what I read. I'm gonna finish listening to this book right now because it's kind of crazy. I don't know how I feel about the twist. I don't know how I feel about the ending. It's definitely like really suspenseful and kind of crazy, but I'm like, does this actually make sense? Or I don't know. It's not one of those twists that just comes out of completely nowhere and it makes no fucking sense. I saw little sprinkles of it and I was like, this person is suspicious. And I like that, like being able to maybe guess what's going on. Except there's like another layer to it that I didn't realize, and then there's like a whole thing, la la la. There's like always a twist within the twist, so that even if you kind of guessed the main twist, there's always another secondary twist. We read for 24 hours in the past 4 days, folks. That's pretty insane. Anyways, I'm gonna finish this, and then I will see you in a moment tomorrow. I'll see you in a second with all the wrap up. Okay. I apologize for the noise, but I've literally turned off the radiator and for some reason it's still just making weird noises. Let's do a quick little roundup of the books that I read in this reading vlog and give final ratings, because you know, if you watch this channel, that I very much get the like immediately after reading rating inflation, and my ratings kind of change quite a bit. But anyways, let's go over what we accomplished in this 24 hours of reading. First up, I listened to the audiobook of Parable of the Sower. I thought it was really good. It was really disturbingly accurate / feeling like it was super plausible in the next couple of years. So that was kind of a bit wild. I really truly feel like the part of my brain that kind of shuts off and blacks out when I consume too much news is the exact same thing that happened to me when I was listening to this book, because it honestly feels like a fever dream. And that might also partially be because I listened to the entire thing in one day, which was a choice. It sure was a choice. But I just wanted to make sure that I read this book, and I knew that it was the kind of book that if I had spread it out over a period of time, I probably would have put it down and not had the strength to pick it back up again. There was a couple of elements in this book that I was like not necessarily vibing with. There were like just two little subplot / choices that the author made that I was a little bit like, maybe just not my cup of tea sort of thing. But in general, I thought the story was really interesting. I liked the writing style. It's very violent and a lot of bad, sad, awful things are happening. So really only go into this if you are like in a good headspace or ready to receive that kind of story, because it's not a happy time. I will just tell you that. I think my final rating for this is going to be 3.75 because I did enjoy it. However, it wasn't like an amazing book. I will definitely continue on with the series because I'm interested. I think it's just a duology. I'm interested to see where the next book takes place, or when really the next book takes place. If it's like a little bit in the future or whatever. Definitely enjoyed it. Definitely would recommend. Heavy note on the trigger warnings though, but there were a couple of things that like took me out of it a little bit. Okay, next up I read an arc called Worth Fighting For. I'm giving this one 3 stars. It was a Mulan retelling, but it's kind of just like a modernized version of Mulan. Honestly, think PG Mulan fanfiction set in modern day. That's what it felt like. It was a bit juvenile, a bit cringy. There was definitely a lot of things in it that just felt completely unbelievable. I was rolling my eyes a lot. It definitely like kind of did what it needed to do in terms of like silly, quirky little rom-com vibes, but it's definitely not one that I would necessarily recommend you go out of your way to read. If you're like already reading the series and you want to continue reading the like Disney to modern retellings that they're doing in this little series, go for it. I'm not going to stop you, but I am telling you that you don't have to rush to the stores or the library to read this one when it comes out later this year, in my opinion. Anyways, the next book that I read was also an arc, and it was called 7 Days in Tokyo. And this was this author's debut. I thought the writing was absolutely gorgeous. When it's no plot, just vibes, but like with a philosophical twist and the writing is beautiful, I guess I do enjoy a no plot, just vibes book if it's like in that particular circumstance. I want you to reflect on what it is like to be a human. I want you to get deep into the philosophy of your mind and think about what your life means on this earth. You know what I mean? So anyways, I really enjoyed this. It took place in Tokyo and also flashed back to New York, which a lot of the New York stuff was just super fucking relatable to me in terms of just like all the quotable lines and everything. I rated this 4 stars because I really, really enjoyed it. I definitely would recommend if you're looking for something that is more of a literary fiction with like some elements of what life is like the transitory experience of being a traveler, being a person that is from a certain country and living in a different one, maybe on a visa, kind of just like the temporariness of life and people in your life and being connected to where you are, where you're living, where you're at, where you're traveling. I just thought it was really beautiful and I really enjoyed it. Maybe even as we speak right now, I think I'm gonna bump it up to a 4.25. And I know that's like so nitpicky and annoying, but I read it on NetGalley and you can only do full stars. So usually I have like a very specific star rating and then I just do it up or down based on what I actually thought of it, like vibes wise. So I rated it 4 on there, but I think I'm gonna do officially 4.25 on my story graph. Anyways, next book that I finished was The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. And I don't know if I'm gonna rate this book. If I did, it would probably be in like the 4 to 4.5 star range. I thought it was really sweet. I loved it a lot. It was definitely like just a very whimsical little essay collection of John's thoughts and feelings about life, very much giving philosophy, very much giving notes on being a human, and I just love the way that John Green writes. It is super nostalgic. I really loved The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns growing up. So I highly recommend that book, especially if you're a fan of John Green. Like definitely check that one out. And then the last book that I read was The Death of Mrs. Westaway. That was actually an audiobook because I was frantically trying to finish the last 6.5 hours of time in the allotted day that I had. I literally shirked all of my work responsibilities and finished that book. As you can see from the last clip, the ending was pretty good. It was quite twisty. I think I'm gonna rate this book 4 stars because I thought it was really good. I liked the twists. There was a couple of things that I could have gone without, you know, whatever. The writing in her books is just really beautiful. Like it feels, like I might have said before, kind of like a literary fiction, but just like with these kinds of mystery thriller elements in it, instead of like those classic mystery thriller books that like everything about them is like dripping airport mass market bullshit. Sorry to say, there's a couple of authors that definitely give that vibe. I won't name any names, but you probably know who I'm talking about, where they have like 100 books that come out every year and it's like really concerning. I've stayed away from those ones. So anyways, I'm definitely on the Ruth Ware train. I am a fan of her. I like her twists at the end. They feel like they are earned, they feel like they're deserved, they feel like they give you a little bit of the hints as they go. It definitely feels like an Agatha Christie novel, but like in the modern day, you know what I mean? With like a little bit more of a thrilling aspect instead of just like the mystery. The only thing that was a little disappointing about this one is that the ending plot, there was one aspect of it that was kind of similar to the twist in a different one, which was kind of like, ugh, I kind of hate it when thriller authors do that, because it's like if you've read one, you've read them all. That's what Geneva Rose does, because the ending was pretty much the exact same in both of her fucking books, but I could literally shit talk her all day long. Anyways, so that was the only part that I was kind of like, oh man, but there was other twists that kept twisting, so don't worry about it. There's still more if you've read her other books. But anyways, I feel like it was a very good time. Pretty well-rated books. I got a couple of arcs out of the way, which is awesome because I just received 3 more requests. Like, I got my stats up by reviewing and turning in a couple of my reviews for the books that I read, plus 2 other like reference books that I got from there, and a little poetry collection. So I turned in 5 reviews, got my stats up to like 70 something %, I think. But I just got 3 new books. I'll put the covers right here. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about them. So I will probably just do like an arcs reading vlog, or like intersperse them throughout the year as I go. I'll try to not be such an asshole and like do it so early. I'll try to do it like closer to the day and time that these books come out. But I'm pretty freaking excited about it. Anyways, thanks so much for watching today's video. I feel very positive about all the reading that I was able to do. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 1/3 books in 24 hours. And honestly, I feel like the 2 1/3 audiobooks kind of slowed me down a little bit, in the way of like, I know that I can read a little bit faster than how I was listening to the audiobooks. However, I had things to do. So like, I would not have been able to complete this challenge if I had not listen to those audiobooks. So maybe in the future, when I'm just kind of like doing it for a week or something, I can just time how much my little physical eyeballs can read in a period of time of 24 hours. Anyways, I gotta go now. Thanks so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, I'm sending you all my love, because we're all just trying our best out here. So see you later. Happy reading. Bye.